Yo, yo. Four Gathers, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I'll be starting in like 3 minutes. I just want to make sure that the people who try to get in on time don't miss anything. Cool. Huh. Had to have been a lot of design tests for him, right? Oh yeah. He looks way different. Guess that's just what he looks like without the jacket and hat. Oh, there's a different one. He just looks like every steampunk OC ever. From DeviantArt. Like, I literally had a character that looked like this in 2017, something like that. No, 2007 is what I mean. I mean, when I was 17, my bad. Oh, that's cute. Out and about clothing. That's cute too. Who else is a demon important? Oh, Sogi. Oh, they wanted him to be even more of a nerd, I see. And also clearly with the like Rock Lee inspirations real early on. Ooh, no, that's a stinker. That right there is a stinker. I like this one, but he looks like every anime villain. That one looks like Griffith. That's cool. Okay, now it is 5 o'clock, so I will start. Know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. Seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume. Yes, I believe it was that name, rather along those lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What? Can't believe he was looking at Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance.
I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension.
Oh? How?
I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime.
That doesn't make sense.
The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene.
Ah, a man seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there's a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So you don't think Mr. Natsume's the culprit then?
That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no.
Oh dear.
Ah, tell me. You encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Yeah, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution that is the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny.
I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households here in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much as my Great Britain primer.
And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken a social standing of those dwelling therein.
Betoken their social standing? Sorry?
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness! How extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is the first importance.
I had no idea.
And it's for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain.
Thoroughly lost on what he means to say.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? You have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, you clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks.
Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax.
Window tax? What's that? Surely, not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness!
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed those windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust! Forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light?
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example.
I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps.
It would appear so. I've done a little digging and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, that's of little relevance here. A matter of not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now.
Well, I believe I've told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes. Mr. Naruhodo. Is it not your intent to become a practitioner of law?
You remembered that, did you?
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust their innocence?
Yes, trust.
Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
Oh, but... thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. There are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing.
Yo, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us!
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garrideb is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that really is all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
Mr. Naruhodo. As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room.
"19th of February, Mr. Garrideb's room.
Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forgot his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Ah, yes. Rings a vague bell. That detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you will, please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me— Ah! For the umpteenth down, woman! Will you watch what you're ballywell doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We're deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get too much of a chance to talk with young foreigners like yourself. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's hiding something. It says no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment. Perhaps we should do some digging. That looks like a Medal of Honor. It is showcased on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight.
What? That old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way.
Been polished to shine by accident, I suppose. There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look! Let me see, it says, "For distinguished participation." Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in the military circles.
Obviously, dude.
That portrait of Mr. Garrideb's glaring at me, I swear.
Have you noticed all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrideb as well?
Yeah, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well.
Ah, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seem to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The light ornament certainly does seem surplus to the requirements. Susato-san doesn't pull her punches, or her throws for that matter. Uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing, pah! Not much better than rags, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would gladly have thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past.
Okay.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yeah, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm gonna have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Ahem, ahem.
Maybe let's not. Miss Susato. I think the maid's gonna head us off with a cup of tea.
Hum.
This window looks over Briar Road where the young woman was attacked. Oh yeah, you can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Is this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea'll freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen any of the incident then. Ah! What's he doing over there? But, Mr. Sholmes?
Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Sherlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever are you doing over by the window? I'm giving to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerfully as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well,
Keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent things to do in London, I'm gathering.
And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind.
Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo.
I think so.
There's just enough time for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garideb, though it would seem you're a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate.
Hum?
I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observations of your living arrangements.
I beg your pardon?
The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care.
Duh?
And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you've lost something very dear to you.
Ah!
Mr. Naruto, look! Old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems like Mr. Sholm's corrections are both spot on.
How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know? You mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. In the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of the beasts.
Ah!
And I know only too well, the wild beasts are not easily tamed.
So, shall we begin?
Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
The game is afoot. Nature of the beast.
It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that the fearsome beast has been of a rampage as of late and within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid.
Aye!
Your furtive glance, Mr. Garideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of the beasts.
What is this piffle, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house.
What?
Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Well,
Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to?
madam?
Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction,
It is?
your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show.
Ah!
Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garideb, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I've made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire.
Aftermath.
Now, Mr. Garadeb, it's plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress of this loss has caused you a veritable tangle. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. With fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man, I simply... But what, we must ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment.
Oh,
For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go.
Yes, well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken.
How dearie me.
What could have caused such destructive outbursts? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There's no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake?
It was not said.
Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Ah! What's the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garadeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
my deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too.
Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation?
Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again?
Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could fit inside a room of this size?
Indeed. It's the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense.
Wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garridim and his maid would have been hurt, or worse?
Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast, using that large cannon.
Though you said they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. I don't believe that I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me that with some regularity, that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea.
Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo.
You don't even know yet whether or not this is gonna help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe.
Let us start again. From the beginning. Verloc Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
No. It's Joan, I think.
I didn't really see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garridim's reaction, it rather seems as though the beast did indeed run amok here in the room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garridim's gaze. That'll lead us to the true answer. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garridim's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. Wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply here. It's not as if I could just take the picture out of the frame and see what it looks like.
Take that!
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I thought for sure he looked at the photo. Oh, okay.
Take that!
That was dumb then.
The true nature of the beast that's run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride.
Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garridan. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, instead of just removing the frame and looking at the fucking photo,
We can still make out her mighty arms to note the considerable horsepower they might contain.
Indeed, surely a woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast.
Honored might be stretching a point.
Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garridan. Yeah! Chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
No.
The poor fragile defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Shobes is quite right. There's no sign of Mrs. Garridan anywhere. Seems there might be a clue as to her whereabouts. Clue that this maid is trying to hide. Wonder where Mr. Garridan's wife could be.
Can't click that. Can only look at it. Look at the teapot. I can look at the maid. And those are the things I can look at, I think.
Too tightly shut eyes to avoid even the chance of a giveaway glance. Pursed lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Miss Susato. It's your turn of phrase that's unnerving, Mr. Naruto. Fuck it.
Take that!
Damn it.
But I can't look at her arms or her hands or anything like that. Look at the teapot. Look at her face. Look at her ring.
He's wearing a very large ring, look. Oh yes, a sunflower design, with some rather nice embellishments.
It looks like the fucking sun enemy from Mario.
And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's on there for life too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size.
Alright, man, chill out.
That's something to think, Mr. Naruto, not say. Do you know Mr. Garudeb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? I have a great memory for these things.
I'm glad I already knew that, because I did not like being told that.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Duh!
Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. It is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garudeb's bride in this photographic print.
In other words, you're no ordinary household maid. You guys are in some sort of weird fetish relationship, where you're the maid and he's the master, and it's like a sub-dom kind of thing, and you're involving us in it, and I don't appreciate it.
No. You are Mr. Garudeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garudeb herself.
Oh my word!
Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is my wife, yes. My Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say. She was badly... Ah! It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable circumstances. After all, you're a retired army man, yet you're in the business of renting out rooms. Tuh. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was a second lieutenant in the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, in London, one's rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearance are a folly.
You mean Mr. Garrideb as his wife work as his maid?
Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. Now, Mr. Garrideb.
Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. Perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible though. What could that pose of his really signify?
It signified that his wife is abusive. Which is hilarious because he is a man and she is a woman. Ha 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 ha. Abuse.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek.
And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garrideb?
Well, yes.
You've been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah! Oh, the blazes! How'd you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. I am not trained in the art of conversation, however.
That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view.
Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves, what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage? We need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer.
It's not the pile of bills.
Did Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yeah, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all the food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruto, she's a person, not a thing. Yeah, well, it's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face.
Yeah, fuck her, dude.
One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder?
I don't know. She's abusive. They don't have to make sense. They're assholes. Fuck them.
I'd love to know the answer to that question. Duh, someone must be reading this book at the moment. And there's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garrideb's clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh, no, it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Get any ideas, Susato-san? Oh dear, I'm sorry. This bookmark's actually a love note then,
Well, that'll do it.
Take that!
Yes, it's this love note that's given rise to the pain you suffer.
Oh, James, I love you. Yours forever, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note is certain Miss Mary is on the fly in the ointment here. Gah! But I don't know that bally woman.
You don't know her?
That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what. Ah! A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and the note must have already been there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
The previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
That's right, that's what I was. Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John. A likely story. Ah, are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicion of the female heart, and you'll unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite.
Somebody cheating is not excuse for abuse. It's just not. Fuck them. Fuck Joan. Joan can fuck off.
Now, in a fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can clearly be seen observing the carpet there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. How dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me.
No.
But surely Miss Garrideb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. Doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray in this room is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. This is the last part of Mr. Shob's deduction that we have to fix. We need only follow Mrs. Garridib's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? Base looks too small. It's clearly very unstable. It looks to me like even in the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why's that, I wonder? Why's one candle of the 3 missing from its holder?
These candlestick. Oh, wait. Can I look at that? Can I look at that candle? Nope, not the carpet. Nope, candle. Nope, candle.
Carpet here's been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Shob's deduction, the tears made are those by a lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? You look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Ah, yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind.
It's the fucking candle, but I can't fucking aim at it. Let me aim at the goddamn candle, please. I can't. Fuck it, candlestick.
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick.
Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth.
Yeah, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible.
Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation.
Mrs. Garridib's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. Force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames.
Yes, The most ferocious beast in the whole world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire.
And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok.
Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here.
After the sparks of marital discord flew,
This room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material.
For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might rather be closer to the mark. And the beast is most certainly up to
Here we go again. And the carpet? Is that destroyed by a fire when the candle fell to the floor?
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Old place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old Styx rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining.
I had sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time of being.
Over here, Mr. Garrideb?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. And all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke.
Gosh.
Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite, the book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats is coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of a ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage, flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time as the terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the streets below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The old Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
No, really? Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you?
I think I got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now. What does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
Can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that, although I knew the retired army man might be hiding something, I could not be sure whether this secret would prove to be of relevance or not.
I just knew you were gonna say that.
Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one or two categories. Those relevant to the case and those not.
That makes no sense to me.
Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now.
Sorry?
Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over.
Oh no! Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have the official paperwork to attend to. That's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves in bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett.
Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us. I'm gonna have to give him an answer.
And I will do that after this break, because I need to stretch and make tea. That's basically it. All right. I'm back. Definitely pressed prison, but whatever. 19th of February, Briar Road.
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
I was trying to.
Yeah, I know. Let's hail a car. Oh. What's the matter? Looks as though something's going on there, in front of the Garrideb's house.
Who the fuck is this?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who you calling old man, you rum-looking nim-nimmy-pimmy-nimmy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who's this the Horatio fellow, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Hey, what who are you now?
I'm sorry. It just looks as though there might be a problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Oh, a lawyer? What?
I can be of any assistance. I'd be happy to help. From Japan, but I've studied English law.
Tuh. Vaughn, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
I'll get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
The fuck just happened?
Oh, he's still here. I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What's that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, and not dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Garrideb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garrideb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Happen to know where the other lodger lives on the first floor? Ah, yes. A gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy polemist in my battle of words ne'er there could be. Sorry? Battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So fair maidens, oh good gentlemen, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room.
Hey, Cassie.
It seems like he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us.
How you doing today?
With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garrideb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to prison before visiting hours are over.
Eating pancakes, living the life. I used to love pancakes before I was lactose intolerant. And now I'm like, I can still eat pancakes. But when I take my like pills, I get so full so fast that I'm like, 2 pancakes is not enough. It's just sad. 19th of February, 6:31 p.m., local prison, cell 9.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched.
We're so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing. Nipponese.
Let's not get carried away.
No, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand...
God damn it! I'm never right. I'm never right. I'm never right. Never. Not once. Never. Damn it.
It is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Oh, it's yes! It's you! The miserable, rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here?
I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring.
By the way, I don't know if you were watching already, but if you weren't, you didn't miss much. We more or less went on a side mission that might tie into the actual thing. Unclear.
I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring.
Yeah, essentially the only thing that happened is we found out that the landlord and his maid are husband and wife. That's it.
Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it's the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and not cost me a penny. Ah! You! How dare you! Herr Sherlock Holmes! Ha ha! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life has been damned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? Mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean?
And there's much truth in Mr. Mustache's words.
What?
Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial.
What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
No, no, why? Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. It's really agitating him.
You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow?
No worries, Cassie. Enjoy yourself. See you later.
You referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me, summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for prosecution. Ever.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah! Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruto successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in an unusual circumstance. Mr. McGilded.
What? Ah, I'm impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail.
Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't have been that, having failed to have accused the convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely.
You have some wonderful notions.
Sorry?
The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Wait, of course he is.
Duh! Of course he is! Then why are you trying to scare me? Could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
What on earth do you mean by that?
Van Zeeks is quite an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Duh! That's good!
Sozuki-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy.
As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal trial, is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It's an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated.
Right.
Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are unable to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly is from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation.
And that's all right.
However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Oh my.
Though the adjuncation may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It's most striking.
Disappear? But how?
By all manners of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they're trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they're suddenly overcome by the raging fever. Or perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
No.
All examples of the reality of the events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed!
Nah, you're fine.
You said accursed lodgings before. You were referring to your room as Mr. Garrideb's house, I assume? You mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started noticing strange feelings in myself.
It didn't take long then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now.
Yes, why'd you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap, so I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked, why was it so affordable? The landlord just simpered and said, the room is cursed. Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, if you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place.
Yeah, well said.
But it was true. It was all true.
You mean, the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake with the feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown into prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really? No one at all?
Believe, yes. Believe. Mr. Sholmes?
Me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you?
about the case on the SS Booyah, if you recall.
The Booyah. Ah, that case. The one with the snake.
Well, yes. That time, I was the suspect. But you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate.
I did I? Interesting.
What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe in me?
And I see, yes, you mean. Because you were a grimly dressed shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room.
Well, if you like, yeah.
I'm a little surprised that answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it.
But I could have been lying.
Surely you
You must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little.
I think perhaps you've misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me.
What?
You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Shobes?
I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what's not. I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned.
But I could have betrayed your trust.
In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion.
Meaning?
Whether or not one should trust in another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It's a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself.
Yes, he's right. He's right, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Whether or not I can believe in myself.
A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client.
And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma.
Well, my dear fellows, it's time we're leaving to believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guards will be here shortly to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
Oh dear, there never is enough time, is there? Defend this poor man, you piece of shit. Defend this innocent man. Defend him.
Mr. Natsume? You'd like, in the trial tomorrow. You know, if you're like, not busy or anything, and you're like, you know, you don't think I'm like really lame and stupid and, you know, kind of embarrassing, I'd be happy to represent you. You know, if that's cool. If you're not like, you know, busy or taken or something like that, I'd love to like represent you in court tomorrow. It'd be like pretty cool to do, you know.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
As I said, I only experienced the British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I've finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I'll fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. I hope you'll permit me to take you to prom, represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume.
It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Susato,
Yes?
would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely! As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
Shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. It's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him. To fight in his corner. Tomorrow in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Relish the thought that I will not be defending him in tomorrow's court. Ketchup.
_20th of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber.
Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We're on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Oh, yeah, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Though, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Good morning! Yes! I was right! Finally! I was right! Yes!
Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
Early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that expression.
But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early,
I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result.
Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives! My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble!
Really? 'Cause I can feel the tremors in the floor.
I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire,
Yeah?
I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked up to the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London.
Oh, neither did I. You know why that might be, Mr. Sato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
It's because he's Japanese, and the Japanese and English relations are tense. They said so earlier.
That all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it?
Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it?
Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Mr. Sato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yeah, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? Trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. What a harrowing experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. We wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they're all speculating various answers.
Mundane, mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that's how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. There's another blatant similarity with the trial 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire. It's you!
Me? Well, suppose that is true.
Both times, it's you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper!
Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that.
Oh, this is just my luck! Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive!
Well, let's not forget. It was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. It's true that I'm just a student, new to London. with little in the way of experience, skills, or luck. I promise you this. I'll fight in your corner until the bitter end. And I believe in you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruto Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we'll always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court's in session is about to begin. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once.
All right then, Mr. Natsume. It's time. Let's go.
Yes!
This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. My second trial against the Reaper. Hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsel of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
Prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord.
The Nipponese truly are a fascinating breed.
Sorry, what?
Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. You're a student who arrived in London, but 2 days ago a mere amateur.
Do you have a point?
Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I don't believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Susato-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Very true. But the most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the court of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members to the public? Never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear.
Oh, well, not me. What you say is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fella.
I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that the mustached foreigner did the deed.
Come on now, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Eh? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zix.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Sosuke Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student its warmest welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime, I'll tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst, bloody oath they are. Just look at the sallow complexion of the short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Pray forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in the great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be.
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been in a comatose ever since.
What? They don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose, I see. But her life's not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map.
As mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn carriages. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she is currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
What of the weapon that was used?
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ouch, that big thing's starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody could have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scraggly-looking Sosuke-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what I can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If the theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hollow bouquet. For it's you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here.
What?
Scotland Yard doesn't arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to. We found the bloke to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Ah, yes. I can clearly see the books of which you're referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Oh, forgive me, Lord Van Seeks, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Miss Susato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in prison yesterday, he did tell us what had happened.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out a sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified and had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
A green overcoat.
Well, that's exactly what the woman in the print is wearing.
Oh my, a photographic prints in colour? What now will the world come up with next?
The defendant has done nothing more than admit that he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of a heinous crime of stabbing a woman in the back.
There was nobody else at the time. Just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there's nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes.
It seems this cross-examination could prove pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance.
And this cross-examination will happen on Monday. I'll see you on Monday. The stream's ending. My voice is all fucked. Bye. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. And, yeah, hopefully I'll see you on Monday for this thrilling case. See you Monday.